Hello and welcome to the first ever bear hunting podcast. My name's Matt Schumann. I'll be your host. We're recording this podcast from where I live here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which is a great place to live and to bear hunt. And so if you're listening to this, obviously you can guess that this is pretty much about bear hunting, which is pretty exciting for me because I listen to a lot of podcasts and I really, feel there's a lack of bear hunting, talk on the hunting podcast venues. So some of them touch on it, they do all right, but I really feel like there's a lot of possibilities for a bear hunting podcast. So we're going to give this a go. It might be a catastrophic failure, but we'll give it a try. Anyway, so so I guess here's my thing is that, a lot of the podcasts, they talk about either strictly whitetails or out west, and, which is all great and dandy. I'm a huge whitetail guy as well, and, I'd love to go out west as well, but, bears, they stretch over from Florida to Nunavut, Canada, from Newfoundland, Canada, all the way to California, and most places have bear hunting seasons now. And so it's more of an ordinary guy. Everybody can get out there and hunt them. So, and, in addition to that, there's so many ways to hunt them. It's not just, well, I got to sit in a tree stand or I just got to, run around the mountains or something. You can hunt them many different ways based on where you're at, and I think that's pretty cool. And so anyway, a little bit about myself. I bear hunt mostly here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's not really a destination for folks because Michigan kind of screws over non-residents. They only give out like 2% of our tags, which is nice for a resident, but not so great for everybody else. So, but in addition to that, I try to hunt as much as I can in really the Great Lakes region for bears. I'm playing what I call the bear tag game in Minnesota and Wisconsin. I could have drew Minnesota this year, but that was like 33% chance or something. So, and I'm actually one of the few Americans that can say this, but I've actually hunted DIY in Canada too. Last August, I did a self-guided hunt up in Ontario and hunted way up there, pretty much as far as the road could take me, and was successful in doing that. And that was a real blast. We'll save that story for another day. It's a long one, but in terms of really my hunting career, lack thereof, the only thing I got going for me, I field staff for Big Bear Sense, and that's just on the side thing. Other than that, I've got a day job just like everybody else, so this is really just for fun. But anyway, so so I guess how I got started in bear hunting was I didn't grow up bear hunting. I grew up in a place where bears actually weren't in southern Michigan, and something I always wanted to do, but I didn't really get a chance until after I got out of the service. I was in the Marine Corps. My wife moved us up here because I basically follow her command. And if you deny that you don't and you're married, you're a liar. But anyway, I got started in bear hunting. We moved up here to the Upper Peninsula, and I knew that was my chance to start bear hunting. And my first season was an epic failure. I had no idea what I was doing, and anyway, I don't take to failure too well. So I, between seasons, I researched a lot, and next chance I got, I was successful and shot my first bear. And then after that, I got the bug, and I have been hooked ever since. And every year it just gets scaled up and scaled up and scaled up to where, I went from just wanting to shoot a bear to let's fill the freezer with bear meat. So, I love it. It's a blast. And I hope that if you have never bear hunted, that this really encourages you that, it's not something that you have to go to an outfitter for, or, that you got to know how to do it, and if you don't know how to do it, then maybe this podcast will help you to, learn just a few tips that can help you to do it, So anyway, here in the Upper Peninsula, we've got, it's a draw system, but there's still a lot of tags that are given out. And I'm going to backstep here a little bit. I'm able to hunt bears every year here in the UP of Michigan. Which, if you're a Michigan resident, you're listening to this, some of you are probably going, what? And so, because there's a lot of miscommunication about how the tag system in Michigan works. It's technically a lottery, but not really. But everybody believes it's a lottery, and so most folks think you have to wait, 7-8 years to draw a bear tag, and that's just not true at all. You can pick. There's 3 different seasons in Michigan, and you can pick the later seasons, which a lot of folks consider junk tags because they start almost October 1st to September 25th. And so most folks consider those junk tags and don't want them, and they wait for the first season tags. And that's sort of true if you don't really know a whole lot about bear hunting. But if you figure out how bears operate and what they're looking for that time of year, you can be really successful. And ever since I shot my first bear, I've taken a bear every year here in the UP, which those hunts, the third season hunts, typically only have between a 6 to 12% success rate, which, is about as low as it gets for hunting, So, anyway, so it's all on public land. I don't have any private land, which there's nothing wrong with private land, but, I do it all on public land, and I pride myself with that. So I got other people coming in on my territory all the time. It's still not my territory, but I got people grouse hunting or four-wheeling or other bear hunters or whatever, but I'm still able to manage that pretty well. So anyway, I love doing it. It's a lot of fun, and I take a lot of pride in being able to be successful in such a low success hunt. But anyway, and my family and I, we live off the meat. I don't even know what I'd do if I didn't get a bear every year now, because we've come to rely on it so much. We do, we make bear everything: bear chili, bear steak, bear roast, bear rib, we render the bear fat to make oil and make cookies, and I love doing that. I bring it to work, and I'll be like, oh, you want a cookie? And they're like, oh, it's really good. I'm like, oh, it's made with bear fat. And they're like, what? So, but everybody says you can't tell the difference. So anyway, I'm hoping with this podcast we'll be able to go over recipes, and that's what I love about bear hunting. There's just so much to it. There's the meat's great, and if you don't think the meat's great, I'm telling you, you got to try it again. Have somebody that knows how to cook it or something. I don't know. And we'll go over that too. But anyway, yeah. So other than that, obviously, I love bear hunting, and I hope that through this podcast, either I can keep you motivated in the off season or during season even, or give you tips, or even get you started in bear hunting. It's a blast. So anyway, so what do I see for this podcast? I guess I made myself a little list here to talk off of, but we're sort of sticking to it. Anyway, so for the future of this podcast here, my goal, being a field staff for Big Bear Sense, I know some folks in the quote-unquote bear hunting industry, and I think those folks know some folks, and I'm hoping that, I'm going to be able to get some interviews with what I've written down as bear hunting legends, if there's such a thing. But hopefully we'll get to interview some of them and learn what they did and some of their stories, because that's the thing about bear hunting. There is always stories of bears climb up your tree, charging you. They're such fascinating animals. And that's the thing too. That's the other thing about bear. It's multi-species. So not only is there the black bears that not everybody, but a lot of folks deal with. And there's also grizzlies and browns and polar bears too. So hopefully we can get some of that going on too. That'd be cool. So anyway, but in addition to bear hunting legends, what I found about bear hunters in my time being one is that some of the best bear hunters, unlike the rest of the hunting world, some of the best bear hunters, actually the best bear hunters I know, are folks you've never heard of. And fortunately, I've gotten to meet some of them. And so I'm hoping that some of them will do a little talking here. Not necessarily spill their beans on their secrets or whatever, but maybe they'll spill some of them. That'd be nice. But anyway, those folks usually have some cool stories, so that's what I'm hoping. Anyway, multiple methods too. It's not just going to be about myself. I personally bait all the time because that's what I find to be the most realistic method for me. I've got nothing against any of the other methods. I just I'm not I don't have the temperament or the time to train a dog, let alone multiple dogs. I got a dog. I love dogs. He's a black lab, and he's an idiot. He's the most poorly trained dog you've ever met. So, for me to try to train a bear hound, it would just be ridiculous. I just can't even imagine how that would go over. I spend, the time and the effort and the money to get a bear dog, and it might not even get out of the truck for all I know. So, if it did, who knows? So anyway, but that being said, I've got nothing against hound guys. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm hoping that get some talking with them, and hopefully some guys do some spot and stalk hunts, and especially out west. And I mean, there's other methods too. That's the thing. I mean, out in Pennsylvania, they do bear drives and stuff, and that's actually how the biggest hunter-taken bear was taken, was with a bear drive. So I'm hoping to get some folks like that talking. Another thing I'd like to do is outfitters and DIY hunters. Outfitters, a lot of them have a lot of experience hunting bears just because that's what they do for a living. That's, if they're not good at it, they don't make money because people aren't going to come back. So they have a lot of tips and tactics and all that. But that being said, I also want to talk to DIY guys because, like myself, because, it's not just about an outfitter doing something for you. Doing it yourself brings a huge amount of, accomplishment and self-gratification, and just, it's the way most of us can do it. Most of us cannot afford outfitters, and, so nothing against them, but anyway, and hopefully I get folks from the Great Lakes, out west, Canada, Alaska, the Appalachians, the Atlantic provinces and states, because guess what? There's bears all those places, and that's pretty cool to me. So, being as I'm from the Great Lakes, probably lean a little more towards that due to geographical reasons. But I also feel that the Great Lakes are a little underrepresented in the bear hunting community, so maybe it's just due to the unavailability of tags. I don't know, but yeah. So other than that, I guess we'll wrap this up for now. This is just a brief intro to what I see for this, and we'll release another podcast in addition to this, maybe with our first guest. Anyway, so other than that, I just hope to pass along information I've gained and keep you excited. So anyway, if you got questions or comments or concerns, you can email me. I actually have the official bearhuntingpodcast@gmail.com email. So bearhuntingpodcast@gmail.com. So go ahead and shoot me your emails and let me know what you think. And give me a rating on iTunes too. I guess that helps too. Not that I have any idea what that means, but all right. I guess we're gonna sign out for now. Talk to you later.